Hello everyone. In this session we will discuss about the books which are available for the FRM preparation. This video is very important from the perspective of strategizing your preparation. Okay. Now we also seen that there is a lot of confusion among the students regarding the books which are available in the market, that is which book is better or best for their preparation. So I will try to address that issue in this session. One more thing about this particular session is that in this video or in this session I will try to give you as much as facts possible and less of a analysis. So this video will be oriented towards the fact and not towards the analysis you have to do by yourself. So let's start with the first takeaway of the class. So the takeaway of this session is the current system of GARP. We will understand what is current system of the GARP, how GARP recommends the topics. Then we will see what is the GARP study material, that is core material, some people call it. Then we will see what is John C. Hull's book. Then we will see the JORION's book. We will see that what are the Schwezer books, which book is better for the self-study, and what is the FALCON'S one-pager book. Because these are the primary FAQs which I get from the students. So let's start with the existing system of the GARP. So the existing system is GARP provides study guide, then there is a learning outcomes, and then there is a GARP book. But in GARP's book, that is a core book, GARP directly uses study guide, and from that study guide GARP creates the GARP books. We will discuss what is the GARP book later. First, let me give you the introduction of what is the study guide and the learning outcomes guide. So first, this is the FRM study guide. This is for the 2018 session. This is FRM's learning objective guide, again for the 2018, and FRM changes guide, and here is the same. Now what is the 2018 session? Those who don't know, for them GARP provides study guide session wise. So this current session is 2018 session. So 2018 session is May exam and November exam. In December 2018, GARP will give new study guide for 2019 session. In that study guide, GARP will make changes if GARP feels so, and that will be the foundation foundation book for the 2019 students. Okay. So what is this study guide? In study guide, GARP provides the author's book and then which chapters you are supposed to study from that particular book. So for example, we will take subject financial market and products, which is your book, the third subject of your FRM part 1. In this we have first author John C. Hull, and the first book which is recommended is The Risk Management and the Financial Institution 4th edition 2015. The publishing date is 2015. These all the things are very important because as the book gets updated, GARP is going to update the content. Okay, so you need to always make sure that you are using the latest material. Then the second book is John C. Hull's, the same author's Option, Futures and the Other Derivatives. This book is generally called as the Bible for the options and derivatives industry or the subject. Okay, from this book GARP is recommending these many chapters. So these are total 11 chapters. Okay, so the 11 chapters from this book. Then we have Robert McDonald. From this book we have to study only one chapter, and from this is the type of recommendation GARP generally prefers. Okay, so in this case, see valuation and risk models. Study guide starts from the subject's basic introduction, that is the overall idea what you are going to learn in this particular subject, and then there is a recommendation of the books, okay, and the topics. So this is Linda Allen and Kevin Dodd and all. These are the recommendations. Now next is the learning objectives. Learning objectives very, very important, which generally students ignore. Now what is the importance of learning objective? So let's see, we will take the same subject. Okay. Now, in study guide, GARP told us, or GARP gave us the author's name and the topic name, that this topic you need to study. In learning objective, GARP is specifically telling you that this is the objective of studying that particular topic. Meaning, if GARP says describe this particular concept, meaning you will get a question which somewhere based on the description of that particular concept. If GARP's learning objective is calculate, say for example, calculate futures price or calculate forwards price, not the futures price, sorry. So calculate forward price, meaning you are more likely to get a question on calculation of the forward price, or you need to learn how to calculate the forward price. So this is how this system works, that is study guide, then learning objectives. Okay. One more thing about the learning objective which I would like to address is that learning objective helps you in eliminating few things from the original book, that is the author's book, which are not as such important for the exam. For example, say in BSM, there is a proof of BSM, how the calculation, how the formula of BSM is derived. Now, in GARP's learning objective, there is no such learning objective where it is written that you need to understand the proof of the BSM formula. That's why you don't need to study that particular portion. We are talking from the exam perspective. If you have any personal interest, you can follow up on that particular concept after exam, which will help you in two aspects. One, you will be able to learn new thing. Second, you are not hampering your exam because time is limited and you have to study as much as many things as possible in the limited time. Okay. So next is the changes guide. What is the changes guide? Changes guide is not created from the perspective for the students who are going to appear for the first time. Okay. So it is for the students who were unable to clear in 2017 session, and now it is not good for them to study complete study guide. It is a bit confusing because they might not be able to pick out the topics which are either deleted or added. So study guide changes gives the extract of which topics are added in 2018 session or deleted in 2018 session or updated in 2018 session. Okay. Now see here. In your FRM part 1 foundations of risk management topic, there is no addition or deletion. Same is applicable for quantitative analysis. Then we have financial market and product. Here you will see there is no addition, there is no deletion, but there is updation. What is updation? So John C. Hull, the author of Options, Futures and Derivatives, 9th edition, at that time 9th edition, updated his book and he published 10th edition. So here you will see the updation. Now from the student's perspective, I can assure you that this updation is not going to create any impact on the your exam, upcoming exam. So if you are the student who have already studied for 2017 session and who is going to appear for 2018 exam session, for them there is no as such change. Okay, so this thing is there. There are minor changes. For example, the chapter's name is changed. For example, if you see the chapter 2, the chapter 2 is the mechanics of futures and the market, and in 10th edition this is the futures and market and the central counterparties. But as such there is no difference in the content from the student's perspective. Okay, so this is the basic idea of study guide changes and learning objectives. Let's move to our original discussion, the existing system of the GARP. Now you will be able to understand what is the existing system of the GARP. GARP is using this study guide. GARP is not using the learning outcomes, and GARP is directly publishing the book, that is a GARP book. So what is the GARP book? This is the system which we have already discussed. Okay, that is study guide, LO and changes guide. Now let's see what are the GARP books. GARP books are nothing but the extract of the original author's content, original author's chapters pasted as it is in the GARP. See here, for example, in quants there are 16 chapters recommended by the GARP. 5 chapters are from this particular book, then 4 from the econometrics book, then we have 4 from forecasting. I'm not reading the complete name, it will waste our time, that's why. So then we have this one more book from this book we are getting two chapters, and from the econometrics and finance book we are getting one chapter. Now what GARP is doing, GARP takes exact pages, exact content from, say, first author, which is the Michael Miller. From his book, GARP takes 5 chapters and as it is adding it into the GARP's book. Okay, from original author's book to GARP's book. There are no changes apart from the book is published. The GARP's book is published in 2 columns, and the original author's books are published in a way they prefer, that is in sometimes in 1 column, 2 column, whatever is their preference. So this is the example for the assurance, for the proof purpose. I am giving you the example. See, if you can see this is the GARP's original book. So you will see, if you have the GARP book, you will see that there are the 2 columns in the GARP book. So I am just giving the first column in this case for as an example. This is the GARP's book, and then this is the main author's book. If you read both the content, you will see line by line it is same. Now what are the pros and cons of the GARP books? Pros are very detailed book. GARP book is a very detailed book, as it is a copy paste of original authors or the main author's book. But there are cons. Cons are, it is too lengthy. Too lengthy meaning it will consume your lot of time. The result is you might not even, it is also possible that you might not be able to finish your syllabus. So there are around 1200 pages in all 4 subjects for FRM part 1 and around 2000 pages for part 2, and these are the high density pages. So word density is high, meaning you have to read lot of content. Okay, then we have the next con is that it is not as per the learning objectives. Now what is the problem if the book is not as per the learning objectives? I will give you the very simple example. Let's say we have Bayesian analysis chapter, and where you have to study limited pages from that particular chapter. Now what GARP did, GARP added all the pages from the original author's book in GARP's book. So in original author's book there are 20 pages. I'm giving you the I'm using the simple example. I am not claiming the accuracy here. Okay, so say for example in author's book there are 20 pages on Bayesian analysis. Learning objective says that you have to study only 5 pages from the Bayesian analysis in Michael Miller's topic. Now what GARP is doing, GARP is adding all 20 pages in your core material. So the problem here is you are reading all those things which are not as such required for the exam. Similar type of problem can happen where the proofs are given. There are some chapters where main author gave proof for the particular concept. Okay, and proofs are very lengthy and concept and sometimes very mathematical. This might impact if and this is not as such required for your exam purpose. Now if you directly start studying from the GARP book, this might impact your confidence, this might impact your overall performance, because you are consuming a lot of time in concepts which are not going to show up in the exam. Okay, so this is the second problem. Also it is very difficult to study for many concepts due to the raw language. Language is very hardcore, so that's why sometimes it gets very difficult to understand and difficult to comprehend and revise. Now remember one thing, if you are using the bulky book, meaning you are going to consume a lot of time in the revision. Okay, unless you are creating your own notes, that is summary notes and all. So this might be a problem for you. So conclusion is, we have observed that most of the candidates or the students who start the preparation from the GARP book generally end up giving up in between on these books. Okay, so we this problem might happen to other students as well. So you have to do the analysis, the complete analysis of your own self. Okay, so you have to see how much time you have in your hand and how much preparation, how much time you can allocate for the preparation. Also give a provision, also create a provision for events like office work, sudden increase in office work and the other type of things. Okay, you have to create provisions for all those things. Okay, then we have like use GARP. My general recommendation here is use GARP as a reference material and not as a primary study material. Okay, next, most discussed and talked book in FRM curriculum, okay, by FRM students, which is the Philippe book. Okay. Now, what is Philippe book? Philippe was the author for official GARP books up to the 2011. Then from 2012 session, GARP came up with their own system of books, that is recommendation of the authors, and then creating books from, like, whatever system we have discussed in up till this point is the new system. Before that, there was single book, GARP's recommendation, the GARP's recommended book, which was the Philippe. Now, this book was very well written. This is the pro of this book, that is the advantage of this book, is this is good for the understanding purpose, but there are cons as well. Okay, so the problem of this book is that it is too old and outdated. Now, GARP syllabus is increased at least 3 folds from 2011 to 2017. So meaning, if you try to study from this book, you are not covering even 30% of the topic. Okay, so that's why you should not study from this book. Also, this is old, outdated, we have already discussed, and this does not offer, studying from this book does not offer any exclusive advantage. Apart from that, you are going to see 4-5 questions. We have seen that 4-5 questions in exam are going to directly come from this particular book. Okay, but remember one thing, you can solve these questions even if you study normal books, the current existing books, and not to touch the old book. So this is the Philippe book, meaning this book is not for you. Okay, you should not study from this book. Now, I will tell you what is the problem with this book. Those who cleared exam before 2011, they have studied from this book. Okay, and when any student who is going to appear in 2018-2019 session, if he asks those type of people, those type of FRMs about the book, they are going to recommend you the Philippe, because they might not be aware that Philippe is no more valid for the FRM exam. So that's why there is a lot of confusion among the students about the Philippe book. So you take the call about studying from the you should study from the FRM Philippe book or not. Okay, my general recommendation is stay away from the old books. Now, next is the John C. Hall book. Now, stop searching for the John C. Hall book, okay, unless you want it for your professional purpose. Reason is, whatever chapters which are recommended for your FRM curriculum are already covered by the GARP in their book. Okay, so if you have core material, that is GARP material, meaning you already have all the relevant chapters from John C. Hall as it is, so you don't need to search for John C. Hall's book as in isolation. But if you want this book for the professional purpose, this book is very good. Okay, so you should study this book. Okay, but after exam, do all this research and development after exam, right? So about this book is covered in GARP book line by line. Almost whole book is covered in the FRM curriculum. So out of 69 chapters in FRM part 1, 14 are from this book. Okay, I made a mistake here. Out of 69 chapters, 14 are from this book, 11 in FMP and 3 in VRM, and 1 chapter, that is total 15 chapters are there in FRM curriculum. So 1 chapter is from the FRM part 2 market risk. 1 chapter is the volatility smile. Okay, now there is no such thing as John C. Hall for part 1 and part 2. Now this question was like almost in every attempt. There will be 2 or 3 questions who will ping me and ask me, sir, is there any John C. Hall book for the FRM part 2? So no, there is no such thing as John C. Hall for part 1 and part 2. John C. Hall is not writing book for FRM. He is writing book for finance professionals. GARP is recommending few topics from that particular book. Okay, this thing you need to remember. Then there are no other books by there are other books by Hall which are recommended by GARP. So we have already seen in FMP, you saw the 2 books, okay, which are recommended by GARP. Now next, very very important and the most important section of this particular session is, what is the Schwezer book, okay, or what are the Schwezer books? So if you ask me, my personal opinion is that Schwezer book is the most efficient book. Okay, so efficient in the sense, this book is written from the exam perspective, and as far as I know, this book is the only book who sticks to the learning objective. Meaning here, the Schweitzer books, if you have already started studying, you already know that Schweitzer book, how Schweitzer book works. It is study guide. Okay, so study guide, then learning objective, then author's book are used, and using all these three, Schweitzer creates this summarized version of the discussion. Okay, so I should not say summarized version, it is detailed discussion, but only that much discussion which is required for your exam and not the extra discussion. So that's why this book is very important. Okay, it provides you, it increases your efficiency. I am not saying here this is the best book, because best depends on student to student. What are your excuse me, what are your time limits, what are the what is the situation you have, your understanding level and all. Okay, but generally most of the students, the majority of the students are studying from this book, Schweitzer. Okay, and then there are one more important thing about the Schweitzer is the level 0 section. Okay, so wherever in GARP, what GARP did is GARP assumed that the professionals are going to appear for this exam. So GARP outrightly deleted few topics which are very much important for your understanding purpose. For example, time value of money. Second example is the modern portfolio theory in your foundation subject. So these are the example of level 0 topic which are very much important for your understanding of actual curriculum topics. Now, if when GARP is not giving this, if you directly study from the GARP book, you will get confused because you don't have the basic understanding of the concepts which are required to understand these curriculum concepts. So what Schweitzer does is, Schweitzer provides a level 0 concepts or level 0 chapters where they will discuss all the basic concepts relating to the upcoming topics, right? So this is the level 0 chapter, and then there is a Schweitzer book. Okay, so this is the flow. This is how Schweitzer book is compiled. Study guide, learning objective, author's book combined, and then adding some level 0 topics, and then there is a Schweitzer book. So what are the pros and cons of the Schweitzer book? Obviously no book is perfect, but this is the most efficient. So pros, it is sticking to the GARP's language. Then the second is, it is learning objective wise, hence only relevant topics are covered in the book. So whatever topic you are studying from this book are very important for the exam. Then the language is mellowed down wherever needed. So if you study from the, say for example, if you study econometrics from the direct author's book, you will see the language is very professional. Okay, professional meaning it is written from the perspective of those users who already have lot of basic understanding of related terminologies. What Schweitzer does is, Schweitzer writes a book in very proper manner, and in those cases, in these type of cases, Schweitzer is mellowing down the language. Okay, so you will feel the language is easy in those cases. Then it is used by the most candidates and then takes less time to complete compared to the GARP book. Then there are the cons, obviously. In few cases, explanations are cut short and students are not able to understand the concept. This is happening in very few cases. Okay, and this particular thing, that is not detailed explanation in few cases, is not going to impact your result. Okay, so Schweitzer wrote or created this book in very well thought manner, and we are also generally recommending our students to have a Schweitzer book as a textbook. Okay, next is, which is the best book for FRM? Now I generally answer this question in this manner. Okay, so the problem is not with the book, or there is no such thing as the best book for FRM curriculum. So this is not the problem of books. Problem is with the GARP's policy, that GARP is going to clear only 40% of the candidates and not everyone. Now here the reason of mentioning this is that if I use the closed box and I add 100 FRM candidates in that box, and if I gave everyone same book, same study material, okay, and if we ask them to appear for the exam, then also there is a 40% result GARP is going to give, and top 40% are going to clear the exam. Now here everyone use the same book, but only 40% are going to clear. That's why important is that uh, how you are able to place yourself in the top 40%. If you are able to place yourself in top 40% without touching any book, then also it is fine. And if you are able to place yourself in top 40% after studying 4 books, then also fine. This is what you have to look for yourself, that how you are going to prepare in a manner that you will be in the top 40%. Now I will tell you, I will give you my opinion about this particular exam. Keeping yourself in top 40% is not very difficult if you have the conceptual clarity. We have seen that students who are good with the concepts are more likely to clear in the exam than the students who are not good with the concept and doing lot of practice. Okay, so we have seen there is a set of students who are not focusing on the concept and doing lot of practice. They have comparatively less chance. Okay, so how do we know this? We conduct a survey 2 times. One is on the exam day, one is on the result day. So it is very difficult to talk with the students who are unable to clear the exam, but for their benefit and from our benefit as well, we talk with them. Okay, and from their from after talking to them, we realized or we understood that there was a problem in the conceptual understanding. Okay, or we have seen the other situations where students had less time and that's why they were unable to focus on the concept. So this is also there. Okay, so what you need to do is focus on the concept, polish your concept. Practicing questions should be medium for polishing your concept. If you are practicing lot of question and not getting grip on the concept, then there is no use of practicing questions. Remember this. Okay, and so okay, so, our general recommendation is to go with the Schweitzer, but ultimately you have to take your own call what is the best or suitable for you. Okay, Schweitzer is not our affiliate partner. We have our own institute, we have our own books. Okay, now the last thing, what is FALCON'S 1-pager? So what is the FALCON'S 1-pager? It is simple that it is in 1-pager we are compiling all the concepts, we are providing all the concepts, that is very exam oriented discussion on 1 page. The aim is to compile or create a 1 page which is covering everything from the chapter. Now here 1-pager is not a summary book. This thing you need to understand. 1-pager is written from the perspective, like it is very exam oriented discussion. From our research and our understanding, we know that what is important for the exam, what is not as such important for the exam. So we add that content. Also, this is useful only for the students who are taking classes from us. Reason being that, see, any general book have 2 parts or 3 parts. 3 parts are, first is the basic discussion of the concept, second is the concept, and then there is a illustration. Now 1-pager consists of the concept. Basic understanding of the concept or the basic text or the foundation text of the concept is already discussed in the class, so you don't need the same thing again and again in front of you. Okay, so you need only concept. After that there is a illustration. Illustration is also discussed in the class, concept is also discussed in class, but you need to revise concept again and again, not the basic discussion and the illustration. Okay, illustration, you have online portal for that, you can solve questions using our online portal, and you can polish your illustrations or the concepts from that as well. So this is the 1-pager book. Okay, so this is the basic idea of the 1-pager book. Prose, very reduced form of the content which helps in retaining the concepts. Okay, so now imagine a situation like you have 10 pages and you have to read those 10 pages and you have to remember those 10 pages, and now this case 2 is you have only 1 page, you have to remember that 1 page. Which thing is easy for you? Obviously remembering 1 page, reading 1 page. Okay, in 100 pages your complete syllabus is over. So that type of thing is there. The samples are already published on our Facebook page. FRM Studies by Falcon Edufin is the Facebook page, or FRM Enthusiasts. There are 2 pages on which we provide our content primarily. Then the second is covers everything. We are not eliminating any concept. And then importance level is given with the every concept. That is, which concept is very important, which concept is not as such important, like that. Then the cons, it is only useful for the students of Falcon who are taking classes from us, and not useful for the self-study students. So if you are self-study student and directly try to use the one pager, you won't understand a thing. Okay. And then the no explanation is provided for the concept. There are just only discussion of the concept. So this is about the one pager. Now last thing which I would like to tell you, which you should remember throughout your preparation, is in FRM no one fails in the exam because he was unable to solve the difficult questions. One fails because he was unable to solve easy questions which others were able to solve. Meaning you have to focus, you should focus on easy concepts or easy questions as well. Don't build a perception that exam is going to be very difficult. Okay, so if you are good with the concept, exam is going to be very easy for you. Not very easy, if not very easy, it will be easy for you. Okay, so this is all about our discussion about the books for the FRM preparation. Thank you everyone.